Hey guys, MoiDawg here, and today we've got some exciting B20 news to talk about. On Wednesday, June 16th, it was announced that the newest update was being pushed to the public playtest servers, which, to be honest, took me by surprise as I would have guessed we were going to see another B19 patch to address the desync and stuttering we've been having for the past month. Instead, we have a B20 build that not only has optimization changes, but also includes a brand new map, a new vehicle variant, and other layer changes. But before we dive in, I'd like to remind everyone that I stream a lot of squad on Twitch, at twitch.tv/MoiDawg. In addition to squad leading and playing nearly every kit and vehicle in the game, as an official squad partner, I'm also able to give you guys first looks at some exciting behind the scenes as well. The live streams are a lot of fun, so I hope to see you there. Now, if you missed the announcement, the new community manager, Crispy, pushed this message out on the Discord Wednesday afternoon. Although the focus is primarily on optimization, the most exciting news is the introduction of Lashkar Valley, an absolutely huge map set in the hills of Afghanistan. If this map looks familiar, it's because it used to be titled OP Anaconda as part of the Aussie mod. Now, although we're going to be getting Lashkar Valley, we won't be getting the Aussies themselves just yet. This is a bit of a tease, but seeing as the weapons and vehicles seemed a bit overpowered in the previous playtests, that's probably a good thing. Lashkar Valley is huge, and the mountains are separated by a river that runs straight through the middle of the map. It reminds me a bit of Kohat with a little bit of Kamdesh terrain thrown in, which turns out to be a lot of fun to fight in. Although I'm not a huge fan of AES in general, I will say that the points here felt a lot better than they did when the map was OP Anaconda, and the general flow of the games felt good overall. The hill fighting was difficult, which is a good thing, and players will definitely have to be smart with their vehicles in order to reposition and resupply. There were many points and objectives that were also along the river valley itself, and these towns do well to break up the fighting in the hills. I'm really interested to see how the meta evolves, because it seems like even if the points are off the river, you have to control this main road to prevent flanks and armor pushes. Ultimately, during the playtest, we were only able to play with conventional forces, US, American, and Russian. But looking at the other layers, there's a militia versus insurgent skirmish layer, which looks like a lot of fun, an invasion layer where the US is up against the insurgents, another US insurgent insurgency game mode layer, and a couple of territory control layers. Now for territory control, it looks like they were bugged in this playtest version since I couldn't see any hexes or anchor points, but I would guess I would see a version with mainly hill fighting as well as another one that covers the river basin as well. Overall, I really enjoyed playing Lashkar Valley, and I didn't notice any performance or desync issues at all. Depending on where I was on the map, I was getting anywhere from 80 to 100 plus FPS at max settings with cinematic effects. Fast moving vehicles didn't appear to have any desync either, so I'm cautiously optimistic that the problems we had in B19 are pretty much fixed. Although we don't have a for sure release date for the introduction of the Aussie Faction, Chance Bra, former OWI dev and lead for Midnight Interactive, the team that created Aussie Mod, posted that they sold the mod to OWI earlier this year. He specifies that the deal is different from the Canadian one, whereas Midnight Interactive has completely sold the product and will no longer be involved in its continued development. OWI now has complete creative control, and he reiterates that they have the right to change map names, terrain textures, kits, and weapons. Now, does this mean we'll still be getting things like the Breacher's shotgun? Only time will tell, but I'm hoping that the Aussies are reintroduced to squad with the same flair and level of uniqueness that we saw before, but obviously a little bit more balanced. Other map changes included the introduction of helicopters to Al Basra, Belaya, and Scorpo. We've already seen helicopters on Scorpo Invasion, but seeing them on Al Basra and Belaya was pretty cool. Although we didn't playtest Belaya, flying around the map on my own is awesome in itself. Now on Al Basra, we did have the chance to play an air cav layer, with the Americans having 3 Blackhawks and a handful of other light vehicles. This was some of the most fun I've ever had on Al Basra, and seeing so many helicopters circling around the city really makes me feel like squad is moving in the right direction, especially when I didn't notice any desync issues at all. Wrapping up the maps, Korra has had a complete optimization pass as well, and now has a bunch of new terrain models to help bring it up on par with a lot of the newer maps. If you like Korra, you'll really enjoy new Korra, since it improves on the design of the map by adding new sightlines with new trees, bushes, and other terrain features. Another big change in B20 is what I would consider a huge buff to the British. There is now a Crows variant of the Bulldog, allowing the APC's gun to be manned without the fear of being shot out. Strangely enough, apart from the Challenger, this is the only other British vehicle that has stabilization, and I can see this as being pretty powerful when up against other factions like insurgents and militia. The Bulldog is already one of my favorite vehicles due to its speed, ammo carrying capacity, and the ability to change into any kit. And that's not even mentioning that you don't have to be a crewman to use it. I'm not going to say that it's overpowered or anything like that before we even get a chance to really test it in game, but I do think it will be in certain layers, specifically against BMP-1s. If you're not familiar with the BMP-1, all rounds have an arming distance, so if you are in a Mat V or Bulldog, all you have to do is floor it, slam into the BMP, and lay into the side or rear armor with the 50 cal until it explodes. With no ability to shoot out the turret gunner anymore with coax, BMP-1s are now essentially powerless against an oncoming Crow's Bulldog. Once again, I'm not crying OP before I see it in action, but I will be keeping an eye on this vehicle matchup specifically, since I feel like it may cause some problems in the future. Other than that, I really like the new Bulldog. The British needed another vehicle, and a Crow's Bulldog will definitely help them when matched up against Russian scout cars. Wrapping up the playtest, the notes mentioned changes to first-person player cameras, which, to be honest, I didn't notice much at all. US Army camo was also tweaked to make them not as bright, and vehicle engine sound were reduced. They also mentioned that Russian desert camo was updated to a new stripe pattern for vehicles, but I'm not sure if they implemented this yet since none of the vehicles I saw in the playtest or in the training range had it. After doing some searching, it appears that we might be getting something like this, which would be absolutely awesome. Once again, this is just a guess based on what the Russians currently use in real life, but I would love to see this design in game. Now, we don't have an official release date of B20 yet, but based on the previous playtest, I would expect it to drop within the next couple weeks. I wouldn't be surprised to see a much longer list of patch notes too, so here's hoping we get another update soon. What do you guys think about B20? Is Lashkar Valley looking like a good enough map to tie you over until Fallujah? Is a Crow's Bulldog going to be OP? Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. But that's it for me. Peace.
Contact south. Direct south road.